Hello, everybody. This is Grace Brooksner and Thomas Bowker.
Hello.
So, hello, Thomas. Yes,
Hello.
he's already done it. He's on the ball.
I'm on the ball, I'm ready.
We are the developers of Frog Detective 1, The Haunted Island, and Frog Detective 2, The Case of the Invisible Wizard, and Redacted. Redacted. We will be chatting today about the development of our games, like how we come up with things, what we like to do when we develop them. Tom will be the one in charge of the screen. He's the one that does the most of the technical stuff. Yeah, I guess we should just explain what each of us do. So me, Grace, I'm the creative director of our Studio Worm Club. I do the art and the writing and the story and just random other stuff, really, some design stuff. I'm not a great designer. It's not my strength. In terms of level design and stuff, I feel like I am not great at that, but I do my very best. And Tom, tell us what you do on the project.
I just do all the tech work, mainly, all the Unity stuff. Programming, definitely. And yeah, I think we share a lot of it. We share a lot of the design work.
Oh yeah.
We chat about it a lot. So
yeah.
we both do a lot of different things.
Yeah, like in terms of designing the gameplay, I think we're definitely kind of like on even footing there. But when it comes to like designing the worlds, I've done the like environment design and stuff, and like I don't always feel the most confident about the way that I design spaces, but I feel like I do my best. And Tom is a bit more like spatially good at that sort of stuff, so we're gonna be shaking it up in future. But yeah, I guess my background is I'm a 3D. I know 3D.
As I zoom in on your models.
Yeah, we don't really need to see how well they're constructed. But I studied game development and design at RMIT University. I started my degree in 2016, graduated 2018. Been working in games since the start of 2017. Worked at a studio called League of Geeks for a while, until I packed up my things and left to work on Frog Detective. Tom has a lot of experience with game development. He made a game which I'm sure if you've been on Steam before you're familiar with, called Line.
That's not guaranteed.
I think it's guaranteed. Everyone in the world knows.
If you love achievements, if you love achievement icons.
Yeah, so Tom made a video game called Line, which was a kind of like a minimalist puzzle game, and it was it's a great game, but it also came into a lot of people's awareness because it was one of the first games, if not the first game on Steam, to have letters as its achievements.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like a mistake. It was a chance. Tom
didn't do it on purpose.
There's just a bunch of people who buy it because it's a few dollars on Steam. People buy it because the achievement icons have A to Z, and people spell out things in their profile. And
naughty words.
Yeah, and I don't like that people buy the game just for that sole purpose. But
but the thing is, they buy it for that purpose and then they realise that they actually like it. But sorry for clapping. This is not about Line. This is about Frog Detective. So we'll start, I guess, with just this little scene right here. This is
Unity.
First of all, I guess not everyone's familiar with game development. So we make our games in a program called Unity. It's the basic version is free. We use the pro version because we are professionals. It's a game development program. It can be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. This is the opening scene to The Haunted Island, which is the first game in the series. Most people, for their like menu scene, they would probably have like a still image or a video or something. We were just like, what if it's a real scene with 3D characters and they move around? If Tom presses play, we can see can see how they move. A lot of people will ask about the animations.
Oh, yeah. I'll just turn off the...
Oh, right. Sorry, we do have speakers on, so might have got a bit of echo there. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So a lot of people ask about the animations of the characters. They are like motion capture, not our motion capture. We use like stock motion stuff, which is super useful and fun, and I think it gives them a weird like energy. Before I used to animate all my characters individually, but we realized that with the scope of the games that we wanted to create, it was like not feasible to be doing our own animations. But it is something I want to look into in the future, is either working with an animator, because we do know some really great animators, or setting up our own kind of mocap thing. We did look into it.
Definitely look into it.
Yeah, it's a lot though.
Yeah, it's a lot. And also, like, at this point, it would change. Like, it seems like we'd have to clean it up.
Yeah, we'd have to clean it up to be the quality of the animations that we have in the game already. And it's like, maybe if we moved on to a different project, that wouldn't be a problem. But I guess with the Frog Detective series, it's like we can't really...
If we couldn't match it,
it would look weird.
It'd be weird. Yeah, like episode 3 just has wonky animations for everything.
Yeah. So I guess like going back a bit, like you can see, if Tom wants to zoom in on the Frog Detective there, people, I mean, we don't have to go that close, but I've had people ask about the design of the Frog Detective. Why is the Frog Detective wearing a brown jumper, you ask? Originally the Frog Detective was going to be wearing a trench coat and like a little hat in the original like concept designs that I did, but then I quickly realized that putting like any sort of cloth over a character is really difficult to animate, and it kind of like messes with the stock animations that we had. So like I'd like basically textured this character thinking that that they were gonna have like lots of different accessories, like a hat and a trench coat and stuff, but it didn't work out that way, so the Frog Detective just ended up wearing this very basic outfit. But I really actually think it, like, I can't see the detective wearing anything too different from this now, because it just kind of like sums up this character of like, you know, a frog that's just doing their best, trying to like solve mysteries. Doesn't need to be fancy, doesn't need to be wearing nice clothing. And there's like quite a lot of mention in the dialogue as well of the detective defending the jumper and stuff, and that's almost me like defending it, because people are like, surely like the character design could be more interesting or more like, I don't know, but I think it's just perfect. And then on the right there you've got Martin. In this game we were working with a bigger like time restraint, I guess. So we kind of I needed to simplify the characters and make them I needed to make it so that the bodies I could duplicate between characters, because there's a bunch of scientists on the island and you'll notice that they're all kind of wearing the same outfit. It's because I copied and pasted in the modelling program their actual bodies. Tom is being very creative here, putting the detective in all sorts of situations. Oh, you should like put the detective, map the Frog Detective onto Martin's head, so that when Martin moves his head, the detective also moves around. Yeah. Do you know how to do that? Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Tom's on the case.
Head.
Neck, head, yeah. And just like drag that in there. Perfect, we did.
Damn. That's so good.
Okay, we gotta update this on the game.
Yeah. How do we... the thing is broken. That's okay.
It's small.
Yeah, it's small.
There we go. Yeah, so all the characters, and I guess the moral of the story is like, except for Martin and Fresh X and like a couple other characters, they all have the same bodies. But since Martin's not a scientist, I thought I'd give Martin a new outfit. And like in having released this game 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. When did it release this? 2 years ago? I have no concept.
It was 1.5.
1.5 years. Yeah, 1.5 years ago. Like, having had that time away from it, I'm someone that's quite interested in fashion and quite interested in like interesting character designs and stuff. So like, I feel like if Tom zooms out there, you can see Martin's outfit. It's like a very basic number there. I think like my styles developed a little bit more where I would probably give Martin and my other characters a bit more of an interesting outfit, but I guess I wasn't like, we were running with time constraints. I wanted my characters to be simple, and I don't necessarily regret the choice that I made with those outfits, but I would probably change it up a little bit. Yeah, so that's the first scene. Probably one of the least interesting scenes, but Tom's made it very interesting there with the frog detective moving around. What should we do? Should we go to the office scene? First scene of the game?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just open it up.
Yeah.
Rather than playing a new game.
Yeah. So me and Tom,
Cool.
in terms of our like differences in the game, like Tom's definitely the more technical one. We both work within Unity, so I'll like set up these scenes and then Tom will go and fix them, make them a bit more like solid. This scene in particular is kind of funny because I don't know if it's still in the game now, but if you look down.
Oh yeah.
If you look down in the office, you can see where the supervisor is, because I keep all the conversations in the same scene, so we had to put the supervisor somewhere. Oh yeah, Tom fixed it.
Yeah, I did.
Tom fixed it, but before you could look down and see.
You just look down and see this box.
Yeah, see this box, which is where the supervisor sits. And I guess this is kind of a rare scene as well, because you can, like, looking into this is a bit rare because you rarely ever see the supervisor's feet.
Supervisor's feet. Whoa.
Supervisor's feet and the supervisor's rug as well.
Big shoes. I don't think I've ever looked under here. I've never looked under this. Oh, he's sitting so close to the ground.
It's because he has short legs. He's a penguin. So he's got short legs. Yeah, I mean, there is a reason why you don't see the bottom half of the supervisor. And there was other issues, like this animation doesn't have the supervisor's like hand on the phone. So like I kind of just had to rest it between his shoulder and his like ear. Which I think worked out okay. You can probably see if Tom goes into the scene. Oh, that's fine.
Wait, what am I doing?
I was just thinking about that, the supervisor's like, yeah, that phone cord, whether it's even attached to it is! Oh my god, look at that. It's attached to the phone. I really didn't think it would be. But yeah, that's the supervisor. A little Easter egg in both of the offices is you can see the supervisor's photo is him at the Alien Casino, because before I made Frog Detective, I made little kind of like diorama games. One of them was called Alien Casino, casino run by aliens, and we needed some images for inside the office, so we just put I just dragged those characters into my old games and took a screenshot, and that was that. You can see my perfect texturing in that photo too of the bricks. I wasn't the best at 3D modeling, still not the best at 3D modeling, but it's fine. And then in the detective's office, if we scroll up, that's the detective. And another game that I made called The Fish Market, and that's a band. The band in that game is playing Boom 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 by the Venga Boys. Didn't get the rights to that song, just ripped it from YouTube and popped it in there, and I haven't been sued yet, which is really great. Yes, okay, so the Frog Detective's phone is sort of not exactly working as a phone should, but because of tricky camera angles in the game, you really can't tell. But it just looks like a dangling phone cord, which was a little bit difficult to figure out. Yeah, so
But we did it.
We did it. We figured it out, and no one will ever know. This is the game. This is how the game starts. You just talk. You're a little detective talking to your supervisor, getting a job. Recently I got an email from someone that signed up to our mailing list. It said, "Hi, excited to be on the mailing list. Just wanted to let you know, dialogue in the first game's better than the second game. Thought you might like some constructive criticism." Personally, not sure how constructive that is. It's also very funny to say that about a released game and just email it directly to me like, "Hey, I actually don't like your second game." Not super relevant to this, but I just thought it was funny.
Lobster Cup. First mention
of Lobster Cup. Lobster Cup, throwaway line. First game. Don't want to give any spoilers, but Lobster Cup does have some recurring Lobster Cup themes in the second game.
Yeah. I guess we should mention that if you haven't played Frog Detective 1 or 2, don't watch this.
No, watch it.
Watch it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I reckon watch it because we're not going to spoil anything.
Oh, we're not? Okay.
No. Yeah, we're gonna be very good. Tell you why? Because this is on the store page, and if people are watching this, probably haven't bought the game.
Oh yeah.
So we won't spoil it. We'll just show you a little bit of gameplay. Won't go into any of the endings or anything. So I think there's two ways that you can be watching this video. You're either on our store page, in which case, hi, how's it going? Having a fun time on Steam? Browsing some games on LudoNarraCon. And the other reason is that you are on YouTube, question mark? We're probably going to be
YouTube.
popping this on YouTube. Yeah. So, hello. Subscribe to Laura Eubanks, which is my favourite succulent YouTuber. She does lots of stuff about succulents, which is the best. I don't know what Tom's doing here. Tom, what are you doing?
I'm showing how the outlining works.
Oh, yeah. This is like one of the biggest technical questions that we get is like, how did Tom make the outline effect? Talk us through it, Tom.
Sure. It's not too complicated if you're familiar with graphic stuff. Basically, you separate the object that you want outlined, and I render it to a different texture in all white and blur it. And when you blur it, you get this kind of gradient texture here. And from that gradient, you can just like cut off or like only accept values between a range. And then you can get the outline from that. And that's like the simplest way to explain it. I do some other stuff and then obviously I render it on top of the game. I do other things like wobble the texture a bit at different points so that you get a little animated effect there where it wobbles a bit. And there's some anti-aliasing and stuff, but yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. Oh, and I kind of animate it,
popping in and popping out.
Yeah. And that's basically it. But yeah, I guess we do get a lot of questions from.
We do. It's funny. I remember because basically we started this game while I was still at university, and I had like a feedback session from one of the lecturers at university, and he was like, "Oh, I really love the game. Here are the two things that I love about it. I love that outline effect. How'd you do that? Secondly, love the animations. How'd you do those?" Which is so funny to me because those were the two things that I basically did not do. Didn't like anything else about the game, just those two things. Which is fine. It's fine. But yeah, I found that quite funny. This outline effect originally, I kind of, when me and Tom were designing the game, we were trying to think of a nice sort of elegant way to highlight what you could interact with.
Yeah.
And we were playing like Life is Strange, or like we
Yeah.
just played Life is Strange, and they
Yep.
have like a similar effect, which kind of looks like a drawing or like a sketch
it's more,
around
it's more
objects.
sketchbook style, but
So that we kind of like took inspiration from that, and Tom developed this tool. Like he developed the original outline effect really quickly, and I just thought it was like so cool, and he continued to make it look better. Yeah, do you wanna? So we'll go through and we'll watch this opening scene, which I really love this opening scene. It was definitely like the most fun thing to do. But let's just give it a watch, and then we can talk about it. Yeah, that's me. I'm Grace Brooksner. Oh yeah, there's been like a lot of confusion as well, because like this game's like Grace Brooksner Presents the Haunted Island, because when we made this game, it was mostly my like, I guess my creative vision, but with subsequent games, like Tom's taken a much bigger role, and that's why we created Worm Club to kind of show that. But it was almost a mistake to have my name as the like main thing here, because now everyone just like assumes I'm doing all the work, and it's really hard to communicate that like it's both of us.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, like, because for the first game, like I was kind of just helping out. I was kind of just kind of doing the minimum required, and then once we decided to make more, it changed a lot.
Yeah, I love this scene when it says "and the rest," because it, like the reason I did that is because of a show Gilligan's Island, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. They have like the theme song, and they have like basically lots of characters, and then they go "and the rest," but there's only 2 other characters that they haven't introduced. Like introduce all the characters, and then like "and the rest," and it's like. There's only 2 other people that you have to introduce. Oh boy.
it's really funny that that's the first thing you see.
Oh, okay, so this scene is a nightmare. This is basically the only scene in the game that I did completely by myself. This was before I think Unity had introduced their timeline tool, or maybe it was like around the time, but I like wasn't ready to learn something new, so I just kind of improvised it. I
don't know how to show it.
I don't know how to show it.
Should I just zoom out?
Oh no!
What's that?
Don't worry about it. So I think the funniest way to do it is just like press play on the scene, and then you can kind of see what a mess this whole thing is. Maybe mute the audio as well.
Yeah.
First of all, the detective's not moving. Camera's moving in. We see the detective. Several angles, perfect. Nothing's wrong. Yeah, some movie magic. It's just cameras moving in. Don't go down there. And then you get this shot of the detective going into the island. And the island there is empty, as you can see.
And it's moving.
And it's also, the island is also a whole thing moving towards. And then you can see in the background Larry's there. I bring in a whole new island to do these shots, which is just like all the characters. Just like do like
Larry and
shots of all the characters. I can't remember why there's a third island. I guess we'll find out. Fresh X. And the rest. Oh yeah, okay, go down. That's why and the rest is there. Because that's where the rest are. They're on a whole different island.
Wow.
Okay, these are all like royalty free stock images that I found on Google. Yeah. So that whole thing is a mess. And if you go, oh my god, it gets worse. If you go into cameras,
like here.
Oh yeah, can you open up the animator or like the animation timeline thing?
Yeah.
I would just go click on that thing and then to the left, up, to the right, down, that little.
Oh here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then add tab animation. There we go.
Sorry. Yeah. Oh wait, we can.
It's such a you can see the names of all the cameras. Originally I'd planned, because like when I was making this game, I had like no audience. Well, I had a small audience. And I just wanted to put like, I guess fake quotes of like people saying that the game is really good, people that had never played it, saying that the game was really good. So like I had like quotes of like my friend Shelley saying this game rules, and like William, my other friend William Pugh, being like, oh, this is an amazing game. And then I had like a quote from House and like a few other people. So if Tom go into animation, you can see like all these cameras have really
Shelley.
weird names. So if you click on Shelley, like go to Shelley's camera, let's see where that's pointing. It's pointing to Fresh X.
Fresh X, okay.
So Fresh X is Shelley Cam. William is pointing at And the Rest. King Cam, it is pointing at the King.
Nothing
camera.
What? Nothing camera's pointing at
Mo the Mouse.
At Mo.
That's so sad. Tiny Boy camera?
That's Martin.
Wait, no, Bernie.
Bernie.
You know, Bernie the tiny boy. Why is it called Tiny Boy camera? I have no idea what that originally was like referring to. Side boat cam. I bet that's okay. No, it is pointing to the side of the boat. Larry cam, pointing to Larry. Detective cam. Yep. Detective. Program cam.
Program cam.
What does that even mean?
Program
cam.
Oh, that's because like that's when it shows up when I.
Oh, because you programmed it. Okay, yeah. Hand cam. Hand cam is pointing at the hand.
Magnifying glass, yeah.
Island cam is pointing at the island. Frog head cam. Okay, those ones are real. It's
all good.
But yeah, this island is like this scene is a huge mess. But I think the end result is wonderful.
Yeah, and the thing is, it works, and we actually haven't had to change it.
Yeah, but I did have quite a lot of trouble with this scene because I was using this scene originally as a trailer. Like I wanted to create this scene as a trailer, and that's what I did. But I was getting feedback the whole time that I was making this because I have no film background whatsoever. I don't know, camera angles aren't particularly interesting to me. I mean, like, I'm sure that's a weird thing to say, but like I'm just not a film person or a camera person. So I went to House Studios. I went to the studio where House is, talked to Jake Strasser there because he has like a film degree, I guess. And I got some help from him in terms of like making the game, this scene look nice. But the problem was like he would give me really great feedback, but in order for me to edit the timing at all, I would have to just change every single thing about the scene. So like making this scene took a ridiculous amount of time. I think like a full like, I don't know, like I would say like maybe 15 hours or something to make this scene, which maybe doesn't seem like that much, but it's a lot. It's like that's like solid work. Yeah, I mean like my methods have definitely improved since doing this scene, but I think it's a really funny scene to look at because it kind of shows, like when you look at Tom's scenes and how well they're put together compared to mine, it really shows why Tom is necessary to make this game. Because if Tom wasn't here, everything would be like this. Because it's always how I've made my games, and just like a very messy. Like the way that I see it is like it's like Unity is my canvas. I'm an artist. I throw things on the canvas and see what works.
Yeah, like the thing is, if you wanted to be like neater with it or whatever, like that would stop you. Like these things, like everything, like that stops you from working.
Yes.
So
and like that's something that we kind of like discussed while we were starting the project was like I'm not someone that names all my things perfectly, and like I'm not someone that puts everything in the right spot, because like when I'm in this creative zone where I want to make something really nice and like fun and like capture some sort of energy, I can't think about making everything the most like streamlined or
file structure, whatever.
I just because that kills my motivation. And And it seemed like this is the perfect example because yes, it works, and yes, it was like a massive pain to create. It did like, it's so bad. But it came out really nice, and it came out how I imagined it in my head. But I guess like you will see as well when we go into like the actual Haunted Island scene how much better having Tom do the like organization of the scenes is, because it means that he can work on it in the most effective way, but it also means that like we've kind of found a nice balance of like how we work together, I guess.
Yeah. Also, like, something that might be interesting is that intro scene was black and white for a while.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Yeah, to reference Gulliver's Island, I think.
Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's
Tom's been playing too much Animal Crossing.
Yeah. That was, I remember that being one of the design things that I wanted to mention to you, because I didn't want to, like, when we were making Frog One, I didn't want to give too many suggestions or something. But, like, I think, yeah, just, like, having the intro be black and white for so long, it felt like, the rest of the game is so colourful that, like, I feel like it would have been better if to take the black and white out. Yeah,
and I think that did end up being nicer out of black and white. I think, like, I guess I wanted that scene to be really dramatic, but I think I still managed to make it look dramatic in its own way.
I think Dan helps a lot.
Yeah, Dan's amazing.
That might be the first time we've mentioned Dan.
Oh, yeah. God! Oh, Dan, I'm so sorry. Oh, Dan. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we should definitely talk about Dan, because that scene, the thing that makes that scene is Dan's music. Dan Golding is our composer. He made the soundtrack. It is absolutely amazing. It is, like, far beyond... It inspired me to make a better game, basically. I'd made that scene... I'd made that introduction scene. I'd timed it to the Proro theme song, and I'd basically finished it. And like a minute after I'd finished it, I got an email from Dan with the theme song, and I just put it onto that scene, and it was perfect. Like, everything was perfect, which was really funny because he'd never seen the scene. It was a really great moment. Dan does the music. He's amazing. He also did the music for Goose Game. I think our soundtrack is better. No offense to Debussy. He's really great, and he did all of our music. In this game, there's like some like stock music because we were running against a deadline, and like I needed to fill in certain areas with music that the music that Dan had sent to us didn't suit. So I just got some online. I think eventually we're going to get Dan to fill in those blanks with his own music, because like it kind of ruins it having music that isn't Dan's in there in some ways. Like, I just like Dan's is always going to be the best. What were we even talking about? I'm sorry, Dan, that I didn't mention you if you're listening to this. I feel really bad about it. Our team is basically me, Tom, and Dan. Yeah. We also, for second game, we were funded by Film Victoria in Melbourne.
Yep.
And, of course, the amazing Super Hot. Yeah. We signed up to... Well, I don't know how to describe it. I'd pitched to Callum Underwood at GDC like that year for Frog Detective 2, and he was like, yep, great, I love it. Unfortunately, like, well, I guess fortunately in some ways, like the company that he was working with at the time, it wasn't a fit for their like the way that they were working. It wasn't a fit. So we weren't in contact, but then he contacted me again being like, hey, I've got a really weird idea. Do you want to like get some money from the company Super Hot and you can just do whatever you want? And we were like, maybe, like, because we had like, I guess like a couple other offers on the table at the time, and we were so new to that kind of side of game development that we didn't I didn't know how good the deal from Superhot was when they sent it to us. I didn't understand that it was a really, really good deal.
Yeah.
And once we'd gotten the like offers from the other companies, we were like, hey, Superhot, do you still want to work with us? And they did. So we became the first game, or the first, like, I guess, first company that Superhot ever signed to their label, Superhot Presents, which was like the most exciting thing. So they funded our second game, and Redacted, and we had support from Film Victoria as well, which is a government agency here in Victoria, Australia, Melbourne. They helped us with release funding, so we applied to them and asked for some money to help go to events and stuff and promote the second game, which was really, really great. So they were both really instrumental in getting that second game made. This first game we made with $1. The budget, there was no budget.
Sorry, I'm just doing something.
Tom's doing something off camera. Oh yeah, good call. Good call.
I'm not sure what to do. Wait, I'll just put them in there.
Yeah. Good call. Okay. Oh no, there's spoilers. Not really spoilers.
It's fine.
It's fine. I'm sure someone with a very keen eye will figure out what Tom just did.
Yeah.
What was I talking about? Funding? Was that what I was talking about?
You're talking about funding? You're talking about $1 you spent?
Oh yeah, our budget for the first game. This was... I don't know what... Oh yeah, I had no money. Me and Tom, we're in a relationship. We are lovers. We live together. We have a dog. So I bullied Tom into working on this game with me. Unpaid. Not really. We always had an agreement that we would split any costs that we made selling it. We assumed that we would not make any money selling it, but it became very, very clear very quickly that people were super interested in this game and wanted to play it.
Yeah, people liked it.
Which is awesome. And we worked really hard on it.
Yeah,
and it became a much bigger game. Even though it's a very tiny game, it's became a much bigger game than we had originally planned. So we got our investment back, which was really easy because our investment was $1. Time investment, different story. But yeah, financial investment, $1. There's a little Easter egg, that's me. I think what we're going to do is we're going to briefly take a break, and we will come back with some questions. I've got a bunch of questions from Twitter and our Frog Detective Discord, which anyone is free to join, and we'll just go through those, and I'm sure that will take a while because there are some really interesting questions and I think we have some interesting answers. But for the time being, we need to walk our dog Noddy because it is dog walking time. And as much as I want to sit here and chat away, I gotta look after my little puppy, so we're gonna go do that. Thank you for listening for the little time being. I'm sure by the time we get back it'll be no time has passed at all, but for us we will have had a wonderful rejuvenating walk, gotten really fit, seen some amazing plants, stayed 1.5 meters away from people, all that good stuff. See you in a second. And we're back from our walk. It was not a great walk, I would say. It was quite a yucky day outside. I think maybe staying inside actually is better than going outside some days. That's just my humble opinion. So we're back playing some Frog Detective. Tom will be on the controller, playing away. He's going to be avoiding spoilers. He's going to be avoiding trying to avoid spoilers, trying to avoid the, the solution, I guess. Not that the solution is particularly difficult. But if you can hear some noises in the background, that's our dog, Noddy. She's tired from her walk. She's come to join us in the office, and she might do some groans, some singing maybe if we're lucky. We should probably... So I asked on Twitter for some questions about the development of the game. I said it was for a video. I hope people didn't think it was gonna be a very formal video. It's pretty informal. But we have like heaps of good questions. So hopefully we'll get through the majority of them. There are a lot, so I'm not 100% sure we'll get through them all, and there's a few repeats. So my apologies if your question is not answered. I'll do my best for the ones that aren't answered to reply directly to you. I'm just gonna open up my phone and take a look. There are, oh gosh, so many. So we've got around 50 questions, which is a lot. But I'll start with one of the first ones, which was from our good friend Terry, and he asks, how did you decide the different voices of each of the characters? Did they already exist in your head, or did they develop over time? Now, Terry, the characters aren't voiced. Just kidding, I know what he means. Yeah, so you may know by this point that the characters were written by me. I kind of did the voices by looking at the way that I designed. So I basically designed the character first and then decided on the voice for each character, like what kind of vibe they would have. And also another thing that kind of informed it was the animations. Certain characters I really struggled to get a voice for, like the one that Tom's on now, which is Noodle. I guess because Noodle's character design is just so simple, I couldn't really think of what her like voice would be, and I struggled as well with her I think that was the one I struggled with the most. But for example, if Tom goes over to what's a good example? Maybe Mo. Mo is the mouse here. So you can see Mo's animation there is like super shy, but like kind of friendly. And the character design is small, being a mouse is small. A while ago I did a GDC talk kind of about how I found the voices for each characters, and I sort of like looked at things that like inside myself that aren't necessarily like pretty or like are a bit weird. For example, like I guess my anxieties, and I put one piece of each anxiety onto certain characters, and then I kind of just like created a character through that. I think it's like Martin's the most anxious character out of all of them. And Martin has this sort of like illogical way of viewing the world where he like finds one piece of information and decides that that's a fact, and like struggles to I don't know, like I guess change the way that he views the world. But then characters like Mystery Monkey's kind of like, I guess like a tutorial character almost. Like I always love the characters in RPGs or whatever that are just kind of there to show you around, or like tell you that, hey, this is who you should talk to first. But also I wanted Mystery Monkey to be like the Frog Detective's basically only fan, because the Frog Detective's like not famous in this universe, but has a blog online that clearly Mystery Monkey has been reading. And if you go to frogdetective.net, the blog is on the website. I think Mystery Monkey's one of my favorite characters, even though Mystery Monkey's like role in the game is so minimal. Like Mystery Monkey doesn't want anything, doesn't need anything, just is there to like, I guess Mystery Monkey's the boss of the island, no one really knows, a boss of the scientists, I guess. But yeah, no one on this island really knows what they're doing. Just like how when I make games, I don't really know what I'm doing. Yeah. And I guess what was the other part of Terry's questions? Did they already exist in your head? Yeah, I guess like they developed over time in the sense that like certain characters took a while to find their voice, and I feel like in the second game, the characters like are more diverse almost, like in terms of their personalities. Like I feel like I kind of, instead of going from my anxieties, which is what I did with this game, I went from like kind of like mystery tropes, or like, I don't know, like I kind of played on character tropes. For example, like Susan in the next game is this kind of, I don't know, Southern Belle, like live, laugh, love mother character, and I really liked that in a non-rude way, like in a very endearing way. She's very like friendly, but also like she's on the parent teacher association, like she's a PTA mum. Yeah, I guess like maybe this isn't the most eloquent answer, but like I did do a GDC talk on it, which is a bit more in depth and kind of like, because I had time to write down my feelings on it, is probably a bit more helpful. So thank you, Terry, for that wonderful question. I'm gonna like, I mean everyone says this, but I'll probably butcher some names. We've got Fenriliania. We got Fen. Fen asks, were there any characters you wanted to include?
Card characters. I'm trying to think. Like, I'm sure we... no, I don't know.
No,
I'm trying
not
to think
really.
like, what happened.
At one point, the detective was going to have a brother, like a little brother. But I don't know where that came from, or like what context that was in, or like, yeah, I don't know. I don't have any like character designs. I don't know how spoilery this is, but the Invisible Wizard was originally a different character. Was like, there was a whole different character design, different like story setup. Like the Invisible Wizard was just completely different. And I guess like once that game's had a bit of time to like go out into the world and be public, you know, we only released it like 6 months ago or so, I'll probably share those character designs. I think the design that we went with is actually a lot better because I was struggling with the character design that I decided on. I didn't like it, and I like the new one a lot better. So yeah, I guess, yeah. There's a lot of other questions here from fans saying like, how big is the island in square kilometers? The answer is, I don't care. What kind of ray tracing algorithm did you decide to go with? The answer is, I don't know what a ray tracing algorithm is. How many polygons are in each of Frog Detective's eyes? The answer is 7. So we've got @ZombieHam says, what were your favourite jokes to include? My favourite jokes.
I'm trying to remember what...
There is a good one. One of the ones that Susan says is good.
Oh yeah, I like Susan's whole first dialogue.
Yeah, Susan asking about Lobster Cop.
For Detective 2, yeah.
There are... It's hard because like I guess I don't play through the game that often, and like I haven't in a couple months, so I can't exactly remember what my favourite jokes are. Actually, there's a line from Larry when you first talk to Larry, where Larry says, we're dealing with ghosts here, detective, none of this is safe, which was in the trailer for the first game. I just think it's really funny because like this whole game is about everyone taking this silly situation really seriously. Tom will find it. Larry's a good character. Larry likes to interrupt. Oh yeah, the good thing about this game is that like Larry's already solved the mystery. I always thought it was funny to just have one character be like, oh yeah, like I know what happened. I think some people like when we were first making the game, we like struggled with the fact that there's the line. we struggled with the fact that the detective doesn't really solve any mysteries in this game. And like some people, like in the Steam comments or whatever, in the Steam like reviews, are like, "You're not really solving a mystery." Like, but to me, that's the joke. The joke is that you're not solving any mystery. But in the second game, we definitely changed that up because people really wanted to solve a mystery. And I feel like doing that joke over and over probably isn't ideal. Just like having the joke that the detective doesn't solve anything. You can't get to number 2 best detective without solving some mysteries. So we've got a question from Mike Blackney at Kurt Russell Fan Club. The Frog Detective games have this air of having been a lot of fun to make in a playful kind of way. Was it fun like that? Did you find you were sometimes not in the right mood for it? Yeah, this is a kind of complicated one actually. Like, I loved making this first game so much. Like, making Frog Detective 1 was a really fun thing for the most part. Like, there was very few parts where I was getting frustrated and upset, which I think anyone does with any kind of game development. And that's kind of the reason that I was making games for a long time, was to just be like happy and enjoy making them. And I think what happened was we got a bit of attention with Frog Detective once it came out, and so the momentum was there, and so we just jumped into the development of the second game right away, which was good and bad because we had that momentum. We were excited to make it, but a lot of development is going, like, doing promotion, going overseas, going to events, marketing, selling the game. It's like that sort of stuff was fun for like 6 months after the development of Frog Detective, but then it became so like draining, I guess. I did like quite a few events with Frog Detective 2 last year, sort of like during the development of Frog Detective 2, where I was alone. Yeah, so I was like traveling alone to the US and traveling alone to Europe, which I hated. No offense to Europe. I mean, I don't hate Europe, I just hated like going alone. I just really struggled with it. And that kind of like put me into a state of burnout where I just like really struggled to get out of it. And the kind of like last few months of making Frog Detective 2 for me personally were really difficult, like draining. And I definitely didn't feel, I wish I'd felt more joy making it than I did.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. Like I think we do our best work when we're enjoying it. Yeah. And we do all we can to like preserve and recreate those moments where we do enjoy it. But every day is not going to be every day is not going to be, you're not going to be in the best mood, and also like every task you're not going to be like the most motivated to do.
One thing as well was that when we were making Frog Detective 1, we had so much feedback the whole way through. Like, we were doing lots of playtesting and showing people the game and stuff. And we like, I guess with the second game we were so isolated with it. Like, we did have, we had some playtesting, but we weren't super active at the events that we were showing the games at, so we didn't have like a lot of like player feedback. And like, the second game was barely seen at all by the time we'd released it. I think we'd had 1 or 2 people come and play it through. So we just like, I guess we didn't know if people would enjoy it. I remember feeling really super down about enjoying it. Like, I felt like no one would like it. And like, but yeah, it was genuinely incredibly surprising to me when people liked it. And I know like Tom and Dan probably knew that the game was good, but because I was in such a low mindset at that point, like, I just believed that everyone would hate it. And it's, it's still been a process for me to get out of that funk, I guess. I've definitely been burnt out since then, and it's not so much the development process, it was all the peripheral stuff. It was going to events, it was like dealing with press, dealing with merch, like trying to keep the momentum going, knowing that like it was just destroying me physically. and mentally, which is like a bit of a bummer. But like, and actually one thing that I find funny was that you can almost tell in the dialogue from the first game to the second one, not because it's less joyful, but because the characters are a bit ruder to the detective. You can kind of see like my shift in like attitude, I guess, where like they're a bit harsher, and it's not. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's just kind of a funny thing, knowing how my mental state was at that time. But having said that, like there's so many parts I enjoyed about making that game. Like the actual development part is fun. I like developing games. I just struggle with. Sorry, that's naughty again. I struggle with the stuff around it, and I wish I liked it more because it's such a huge part of development. Yeah. So that's that's your long answer. Yeah. It's not the happiest answer, but it's a realistic answer. I'm in the process of getting better and getting more motivated. Need a bit of a break before I keep working on anything. Yeah. So we got a question from Lisa. Lisa says, character design, character design, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. How do you pick your animal friends? Sorry, just laughing at the screen. How do we pick our animal friends? I have like a list of animals that I think would translate adequately to being on two legs. And animals that I think I could make anthropomorphic, I guess, somewhat anthropomorphic. I don't necessarily view them as like anthro characters, but they have human animations. So it's like figuring out what characters will translate, and there's characters that I really want to make. I really want to put in the game. Like I want there to be like a snail, but it's so hard with the animation stuff that I've got. So certain characters, like certain animals that I really love, don't really translate. There's characters like hamsters that I haven't done, which might be done in future, and like more birds. I really like. Some people comment that Orbit looks like a character from that.
Don't hug me, I'm
scared. Don't hug me, I'm scared. One of the characters from that wasn't intentional, but I appreciate it. I mean, I enjoyed those videos. They're strange, just like the things that I make. So it's a nice comparison. Yeah, I just have a list of animals that work with two legs, and then I try and make them on two legs. I think I'm trying to think of any I haven't been able to translate, and I did a lizard and it didn't really work out super great. But I'm sure I could try again. Yeah, I wish there was like a better answer. I just kind of like make characters from some of them I draw in advance, but with most of the ones in this game I didn't draw in advance. I just kind of made them in 3D from my brain. Yeah,
I was wondering if you've ever shown those drawings from.
Yeah, I mean, I did the ones from. I mean, there's from 2. Yeah, I don't know if I've shown them. I'll probably tweet them.
Good.
They're funny. I kind of wanted to put them on a t-shirt because I think they're cute. Yeah, so that's the answer to that question. Okay, we got a question from Ricky. Wait, this is a different question from Ricky. I thought there were 2 questions. Anyway, this is a question from Ricky. I'd like to know your process for designing characters. Like, I guess they start with you drawing lots of them. How do they get whittled down, assigned roles, given personalities, refined visually? I mean, that's kind of a similar question to Lisa's. And the answer is, for this game, for Frog Detective 1, it was just off the top of my head. I just kind of made them up as I went. Because a lot of them have the same bodies. I just kind of sketched in 3D almost, and then that's just what ended up in the game. For Frog Detective 2, yeah, I did draw all the characters in advance. And I have like a giant kid's sketchbook with like a bunch of character designs in it, and like I just jotted down personalities, I think. I'm always interested. I think I can go grab it. Tom, you gotta just sing Hannah Montana songs as I get that sketchbook.
can't feel it. I can't feel the time.
It's okay, I'm back. So, I have this book, and it's called, the first page is Secret Frog Detective Business, Keep Out. Oh yeah, the first page says things that are funny. Lobster cup. Books are bad. No hats. Dance contest. Magnifying glass. Those are things that I find funny. Okay, so here's like a list of Frog Detective 2 characters that I wrote. So Ralph loves pirates. Thinks being small equals far away. Wants to live alone. Mandy, style icon. Witch, great baker. Stall has been ruined. Victor, Noddy's nephew. Jealous of invisible wizard's attention. Just here for fun. Wants baked goods. Noddy. Oh yeah, our dog Noddy's in the second game. It was actually really hard to do Noddy's personality because she's horrible. She's a horrible dog. She's so mean. Like if Noddy was an actual human, she'd be really mean. So we had to kind of give her this like personality that doesn't really reflect her as a dog. Yeah, it just basically says mayor and witch. Susan, PTA mum. Yeah, some of this is like the design stuff, but like Mary, aspiring singer. Originally Mary knew who did it and like wasn't gonna tell the detective. Has information for a price. Yeah. Okay, maybe this isn't very helpful, but still I think it's fun to go through my little drawings. Yeah, so that's that, Ricky. Sorry, it's not the best answer. So we've got a question from KML at KMLJKL or Kamuljickle. I'm curious about how the jiggly outlines were done.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so all the outline and tech stuff, I think I'll answer all the like tech questions in a little video section I'll do after this, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. I did briefly describe them before.
Yeah, we briefly went through it, but Tom will do a more like in-depth one.
Yeah.
In-depth video coming up. It is now raining, so if you can hear raindrops outside, that is why. This question from Chris at Mr. Bob 9000. What fighter type would Frog Detective be in Smash? So, I don't know what a fighter type is.
Oh, I guess right in Smash. Okay.
In Smash.
I don't know.
Fighter type. I'm just going to assume this question means like if Frog Detective was in Smash.
Should we look up the fighter types?
Yeah, let's look up fighter types. Okay, I'm just going to go on my phone and search fighter types Smash. You know, we got to give every question.
Is it like the me fighter types when you like make a fighter with the me?
Is that a thing?
I think it is.
This says Pokemon. What? Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about, yep. Mr. Bob 9000. But if Frog Detective was in Smash, Frog Detective would fight by talking to the other characters and finding out what anxieties they have, and then maybe getting them an item. Mm-hmm. And then that kills them. I don't know. Wow. I've played Smash like once. That's water, because I've been talking for a long time. Riff Connor at Rifflesby says, how did you come up with his name? So Tom was named by his mum when he was born.
I was named after Thomas Dolby.
What, really? Who was that?
I don't know if that's true.
Who's Thomas Dolby?
He's a singer from... I don't know. He's
wow, this is a fact to me. It's like Tom fact.
I don't know if that's true or just a joke my mum told me once to mess with me.
Well, that's how Tom got his name. I personally didn't name Tom. He had it when I met him. What aspect of the game are you most proud of? I am the most proud of the opening scene. Well, the surprise scene in Frog Detective 2. After the office. Once you get the case in Frog Detective 2.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Cool.
I won't spoil it. I'm sure lots of people have seen that. I really like that scene because it's it was a collaboration.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
that one. Yeah. Okay.
It was a collaboration between all three of us. And it's dramatic and silly and like kind of just sums up exactly what I like about Frog Detective.
Yeah.
Like the game takes itself seriously, but anyone playing it isn't taking it seriously, which I like. You can probably hear Noddy in the background. She's just gonna be walking around. She does her own thing. We don't control her. So what aspect of the game are you most proud of?
I guess just like, actually no, I guess it is the outline thing, because it was an example of a mixture of, it was a design problem that I had a technical solution for, and I think I did a good job on it.
Yeah.
It was something that had to fit in with Grace's, like the rest of the art style and the world, and I think I did an okay job at it.
Yeah. And it's also something that people bring up a lot. I remember like when we were first starting making the game and everyone was like talking about it a lot, like asking about the outline effect. Tom was like, it's so simple, why is everyone asking about it? Like he felt like a bit like self-conscious about it.
Yeah.
But like I think I like that it's simple, and I like that it's just Tom did it and he did it really well.
It was I guess like I still think it's a simple thing, but it's the thing I'm most proud of, and it's like the most elegant like thing, and it represents like, I think, like a small bit of like my design knowledge and technical knowledge, like working together just to do something simple that works well. And
I should mention that question was from Esme Van Toff at Esmazing. I guess like one thing as well that I'm proud of that isn't so much part of the game itself, but I was really proud of the work that I did with the merchandise and like our PAX booth and stuff. Like doing that kind of work was really like exciting to me. I mean, I know I mentioned earlier that the kind of peripheral work really got me down, but I think like that work, like doing the PAX booth, doing merchandise, was like fun and interesting. And I feel like the artists that we worked with really like had cool ideas that translated really well to like a physical product, and it wasn't really something that I thought I was gonna do, but yeah, like I thought it was just super lovely that it worked out. It was so much work, and I don't think I could do it again on my own, which is why we're working with Fan Gamer now. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I really liked the artists that we worked with as well. So thank you for that question. Bradley Branham at, hang on, I'll see what your at is, at Between Boundary says, what was the funnest thing you worked on, and what brought the most stress to work on? The most fun to work on. I guess the 3D models, honestly. Like I find making the 3D models really relaxing. It's just like super easy, and they always come out funny. Yeah, I really like making the 3D models. The most stressful? Any cutscene, even when they come out really nice. The cutscenes are really like so annoying. Like I really don't like doing them. I kind of got to a point where I kept asking Tom to make them. I would like do storyboards and be like, Tom, can you do this? Because like we use the Unity timeline tool, and it's a lot. It works and it's fine, but it's a pain.
Yeah, I mean, we're two people, and we have to like we have to do everything. We're doing everything. And we both don't have like a huge amount of experience in animation, or like creating animation stuff from scratch, or like cinematography as well. Yeah. So like those kind of things, like they take a while. Yeah. And
neither of us have that background of like knowing necessarily how camera angles work, or like how to make them look good. I think for the Frog Detective 2 like opening credits, I think I copied it shot for shot.
Oh yeah,
From like, it was like, it was a Quentin Tarantino. What is it called? Like the dogs one. It's got dogs.
Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs. I think that's what it's from.
Yeah.
Where they're like, I just needed a shot of people like walking down.
Yeah.
A thing and like how to get different shots for that. Like, and like I just copied it from that movie because I was like, well, I mean, like they can't sue me for copying their shots. I don't think it kind of ended up different enough that it wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, stuff like that where like it's stressful because I don't have that basic knowledge of how to actually like, I don't know, make it look good. Oh my gosh, sea monster.
The sea monster.
That's really scary. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, Tom. All right. Yeah, would you agree that that's like a stressful thing, or do you have like a more stressful thing?
I'm not sure. It's not. Stressful. So what was the question? Like, what's the most stressful thing to work on?
Yeah, what was the most fun and what was the most stressful?
Upgrading. The most stressful thing was Frog Detective 1 was built very quickly and kind of like bare like minimum implementation or minimum like structure, and that was like what we should have done, and that's what we should have done to just get it finished. And but so when we decided to make Frog Detective 2, we decided to kind of be a bit more careful with all the tools and like make it better, make it easier to work on basically. So I had to go back, and so I threw everything out and remade all the systems and stuff for Frog Detective 2. And so I had to go back to Frog 1 and like replace all the, like rebuild it with the new stuff, if that makes sense. And that was the most.
Yeah, and that was a long time as well.
Yeah.
Like when Tom did that. And it was also like he was building the tools for the second game while he was doing that. So it was like, first of all, making the first game better in terms of its like strength as a game, I guess, like pardon me, but also like creating tools with this new dialogue manager that improved it. Yeah, and kind of it was also like that was stressful for me as well, because like I was learning a whole new system when we'd done this whole game with something called like dialogue manager or something, and like I'd learnt that, and it was a very convoluted kind of like in-depth thing, and then Tom's like, surprise, new program, please learn this. But it turned out that was like a lot easier to learn that than dialogue manager, so it kind of worked out. We used what's it called, Yarn
at the moment. Yarn, and a few other things.
It's a really good tool. It's like I think it's like a Twine implementation into Unity almost, like similar to Yeah, and it's called Twine because I believe they developed it for Night in the Woods, and it was like turning twine into cat-related things. I think that's why they called it Yarn, because like cats play with yarn.
Oh, okay.
That's what I might be making that up. Am I making that up?
Maybe. I think it was called Yarn because twine was twine and yarn is yarn.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
But cats play with yarn. Okay, and because it was made for Night in the Woods, and the Night in the Woods is like a cat, so they're like yarn. I don't know. It's
probably true.
John made it. John worked on it. We can ask John later. Okay, we got a question from Ray Apollo at Ray Apollo. Is Lobster Cop a real cop? Thank you.
Ooh.
Lobster Cop's a detective. Lobster Cop is called Lobster Cop because that's a funny name. I think actually in Frog Detective, like formal like policing systems aren't really real. You know, the politics of Frog Detective, it's all a bit up in the air. But I think in Frog Detective, I'm kind of happy to say that no, police aren't real in Frog Detective. Lobster Cop's just called Lobster Cop because that's a cool title to have. Hopefully that answers your question. Although I will say that I think this will be explained a little bit more in future installments.
Yeah.
If future installments exist, who knows? Sam Reed at SamReed5 says, where/when do you draw the line with traditional gameplay? Is it something you want to look into more next, or stay away from and focus on comedy? Traditional gameplay. I mean, like, the reason that we don't have so much traditional gameplay in this game is because I personally don't find it interesting a lot of the time. And, like, the way that I interact with games and have for a long time is this, like, kind of, I don't know, like, frustration with the way that games are built. And not saying that those games are, like, the games that have traditional gameplay are bad, but it's just something that I can't engage with in a meaningful way. I think Tom's trying to bug fix this giant snake that he put in the ocean. So please enjoy. God, good fixing. I'm not opposed to traditional gameplay, and like even with the second game, we kind of like added some more gamey things into it. No. No, Mr. Monkey, what happened? Yeah. I don't know exactly how to answer that question, Sam Reed, but I think it's a good question. I guess time will tell. What do you mean? Frog Detective's the most traditional game I've ever played. It's the most traditional game I ever played / made. It's very traditional.
It does have achievements.
It has achievements, so checkmate. Okay. The blue cosmonaut at Blue Cosmonaut asks, how do you decide how complex things should be in terms of puzzles or dialogue or environments or anything? This is a good question, Blue Cosmonaut. How do we decide? We want our games to be accessible to people that don't know how to solve puzzles, like me. Oh no, Tom. This is good though. I should patch this in. Yeah, it's a good question. I really can't say. I don't know. We try to make it as accessible as possible. We present it to people, we play test and make sure that no one ever gets stuck. One thing that I kind of regret a little bit with the second game is that we placed a character that you should be talking to first kind of in a weird spot. So a lot of people basically solve the entire puzzle before they talk to the character, like the first character that they should be talking to. Which I think it turns out fine, but it's that kind of shows my weaknesses as a designer. I think Tom has a better understanding of how to do that, but I guess my strength in that is that I come from a non-gamer background, so I kind of know when things are too complex. Yeah.
I think both our instincts on that part of things is pretty good, and I think we definitely try and make it as simple as possible, and
I'm gonna embarrass myself with this pronunciation. How do you say Deus Machina? Deus Ex Machina? Deus. That's right, sorry, I'm just not very smart. Deus Games Machina at Boofsy asks, why frog? That's a really good question. Why frog? I grew up in Darwin, Australia, which has a lot of green tree frogs. I would get them in my house quite often, sometimes in my toilet, sometimes in the bathroom, sometimes in my kitchen, sometimes in my bedroom, and I liked them. Sometimes they were really loud and I'd be like, shut up, but most of the time I enjoyed their presence. I would go and wet my hands and pick them up and take them outside when they would come into the house. I just liked frogs. I think people think of me as like a frog person. Like they're like, Grace, she likes frogs. Which is true, I do like frogs, but I also like other animals. Frogs just kind of became a thing that I would draw and create because I liked their head shapes, and I think that they translated in a funny way to 3D. And I do, like, I have a lot of frog possessions in my house and stuff, but that's kind of like a lot of them are gifts. I think I just kind of like became a frog person because I made a game about a frog. Why frog? I like them. They're good. They're a really good animal. They're not my favourite animal. Controversial, but true. What did I say my favourite animal was the other day?
The other day?
Moray eel.
Moray eel. Yeah, right.
That's my current favourite animal. I also like giant salamander. And jellyfish. I don't think jellyfish translate very well to my art style, although I have done them before.
Yeah.
This has gone into, for a very simple question, why frog, this has got a very detailed answer. So what we might do at the moment is take a little break. We might split this up into little sections with some Hannah Montana segue music in between. For all you Steam watchers and for all you YouTube watchers, this might be one video or several different videos, who knows. Thank you for asking questions. See you in a moment. And we're back. We're back. Hasn't been very long. Just needed a little breather. Back to questions. So, we have got a question from, I'm really sorry, I'm going to mess this up. Victor Salnace Briam at Zepcap. I definitely did that wrong. What makes you want to create Frog Detective? What was the original motivation behind making it? Oh, also I should mention that we're currently in Warlock Woods, which is the scene of the second game. Thought we would shake up a little bit. What makes me want to make Frog Detective? Where did we come up with it? One night I said to Tom, I want to make a game about Frog Detective, where you play as a little frog and solve mysteries. That's basically what happened. Actually, I wish I had a better answer for like where it came from, but it just came from nowhere.
Yeah, I can't remember.
You don't remember me saying that?
No.
Really? That's so funny.
I don't think so.
I said it was my dream to make a little game about a detective.
Oh, yeah.
But also, one thing I think about is how, like, I kind of made this game because I wanted to be taken a bit more seriously. Like, naughty. I was making small diorama games and people liked them, but I kind of feel like people weren't, like, I guess in an industry sense, people don't necessarily take you as seriously if you only make, like, art games, which is sad, but kind of, like, in some ways it's understandable. So I was like, fine, I'll make a game that I sell, and then people will take me seriously, and that'll be the end of it. Which, you know, making a game about Frog Detective, probably not the best way to be taken seriously, but it worked. Yeah, I guess that's that. NyQuil Cox at Linux. Sorry. Both games proceed along a mostly one-to-one map of characters and items. I wonder if anything got cut/added to balance this, or how it affected scope and narrative development. I think the one-to-one thing was kind of an accident in some ways. Like, I did count the characters in the first game to try and kind of like get an idea of how many characters I should make for the second one. We wanted the second one to be a bit longer, which it ended up being. Is there less characters in this or more characters in this? More, right?
It seems like there's more.
I think there's more.
With, yeah, there should be.
Yeah, there's like Barney and stuff, so
yeah.
It kind of gets a bit longer. Things getting cut. There was a couple things that got cut. With Ralph here, we really wanted to have like a montage of him building a house. But like it kind of became clear very quickly that that was out of scope. So Tom like kind of put together a little scene that just implies that that's what's happening. And like I guess that's one thing I would have loved to have in the game, but it's like I was really anxious about doing that because again, like I'm not someone that's super into cinematography or whatever, so I couldn't like think of a way to make it look interesting or funny.
Throw together a cutscene.
Yeah, like you can't throw it together. You can't really, like it's hard. You have to plan it out. And I felt like I wanted to make it good, and I don't think I could have done it justice. yeah. And it was giving me so much anxiety that Tom kind of just said, like, let's scrap it.
Yeah.
Because I just, like, couldn't think of how to do it, so...
I like cutting things from...
Yeah, well, I mean, like, it's all about scope, right? Like,
Yeah.
you scope things down. And obviously, Frog Detective's already such a small scoped game, but we wanted to just make sure that we weren't burning ourselves out, making stuff that was too complex. Yeah, I feel like I mean, some people have noted this, and I definitely feel it, that this, the way that this town feels is, like, a lot more open and, like, not as, like, explorative. I don't know what the word is. Like, it's not as fun to explore as the first game, and I definitely see that, and I understand that. But we wanted to make it feel like you were in a little, like, street or a little community. Whereas, like, the island was more of a wild place. But yeah, so it was one thing, like, I'm not much of a level designer. I still think it looks nice, though. And there's other parts of the game that are really, like, interesting to look at. I think it's good. Anyway, okay, this name's in Russian, so I'll just say Russian name at Revilokio. Any froggy chairs in the game? No. This is a swear, I can't say. Computer Dip Censored at David Crespo asks, did you make the dance animations or find them somewhere? I found them somewhere. I mentioned this earlier. I did not do the animations. They were stock, but I think they're really good, so it's fine. Alice at Yeti Yellow 3, how did you decide on the incredible music in the game? Any inspirations, or who created the music? We don't know who created the music. It appeared in the project one day. We'd left the project open overnight, and we woke up and there was suddenly an amazing soundtrack, and we were like, wow, this rules. Just joking, it was made by Dan Golding, who is a really amazing composer and music maker. The same thing. He made the music. My pitch to him was like, can you make the pro music, please? And he was like, yep, I can do that because I'm Dan and I'm amazing. And he did it. He, I'm sure, has, like, a much more, like, eloquent way of putting it together. So, sorry, of explaining the music. It's like jazz influence. Yeah, it's really good, is the moral of that story. Ooh, Kid Robertuison at Kristen Nola says, what's his height? Tom's around 6'1". Six foot? Yeah. And what's his favorite color? His favorite color, I want to say, like, a kind of like light blue, or like minty blue even.
Yeah, light blue, like a little bit of green.
Yeah,
that's good.
I think that's probably Tom's favorite color.
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas Rewald at Nicholas Rewald says, who can dance the best? I can. Yeah.
Yep.
In the context of the game, which I'm assuming you're asking about, Martin. Martin can dance the best. Or the detective. I think both are good answers. Doesn't necessarily mean they get to win the competition. Doesn't necessarily mean that. In fact, the detective can't win the competition.
Can't win, it was challenging.
Yep. Yerrick TRB at Yerrick TRB says, is Frog Detective Frog Fractions 2? No, it's not. Axorm Uchiha at Axorm. Did you have a precise idea about the NPCs? I mean, did you know early on that you would have a koala and what role in the story they would have? Or does it kind of come naturally along the making of the game? Yeah, I mean, I kind of went over this a bit earlier, but, like, I go into the game knowing a vague idea of, like, which characters I want. Like, a character, for example, like, I want a character that doesn't know that there's a mystery happening, or I want a character that is is really rude to the detective, like that kind of thing. But I don't necessarily go in knowing that each character is gonna be a certain way when I design them. Some characters just come naturally like that when I create them. Like I get the design and I'm like, oh okay, yeah, like this is what this character talks like or feels like. Axor Uchiha, I'm sorry about the pronunciation. This is a good question. Also, I know this is a spoilery question, but do you plan to include your elusive character, my son, in a future case, or will he remain an Easter egg? I don't know what you're talking about. What character?
I don't know.
There's no character called my son.
No.
People have been mentioning to me that they've seen a character behind a building and they've seen a character behind a rock, but I'm not entirely sure what they're talking about. I mean, we made the game, so surely we would know about this character, but we haven't seen a character like that, so until someone can give me some conclusive proof that there's a character like that in the game, I just simply cannot answer your question. To answer your question about my son, next question. Another ham, we got another ham, at the ham official. Who would win if Frog Detective and Sherlock Holmes had a competitive solve-off? I think the detective would win because Sherlock Holmes is old and dead, probably. Because he was alive a long time ago in the olden days, whereas Frog Detective is modern and new. Modern and new, and also has access to Google. Probably. I don't know if Google exists in this universe. Probably not. I've got a technical question for you later, which is what was your greatest technical challenge to overcome in development? So Tom might answer that a bit later, and that is from Welby at WelbyDev. And we got another technical question from Ian Burnett, so I'll skip over those. Dapper B at DapperB93 asks, is Frog Detective my friend? Yeah. Yeah, Frog Detective's your friend. Yeah. AFM at AFM_AFM. How's Toad doing? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, good, really well. Yeah. Okay, we got a question from Frank at FSK Milham. How hard is it to create a game with such a small team? Do you need years of experience? Also, were you guys working other jobs while making Frog Detective? That's a nice question, Frank. Thank you. It can be really hard to make a game with a small team. It depends on the game that you're making, I suppose. I think this game we kind of really tailored it to our skill level and the amount of time we had. I think give us 3 years and we can make a game, 5 times this length and 5 times as beautiful or whatever. But in order to keep it at a level that's comfortable for us, that we're not hurting ourselves making it, that's within our abilities. We've always been really conscious of making sure that the games that we make can be made by 2 people. And we're not the sort of people that want to have a big team. The 2 of us plus Dan and potentially someone else in the future doing another job is probably all we'll do. Yeah. I've worked in big teams before, and I think it's a really cool and interesting way to work, but it's more suited to making a different sort of game.
Yeah. And you can make games without years of experience, but we do have years of experience collectively.
Yeah. But I guess in terms of years of experience, I made my first 3D game with no years of experience. 6 months of experience, and not even that in terms of 3D modeling or using Unity. I think a lot of people that are starting out in development will decide that they want to make a game. Sorry about if you can hear all these planes. Don't know what's going on. We'll just let them fly by. Let them do their thing. Wow, these are loud planes. I don't know if it's picking up on the mic.
Don't know at all.
Anyway, where am I? Yeah, if you're starting out making games, I think a lot of people that we know have fallen into this kind of like trap of like creating a game that's going to take 7 years to make, because they want to make an advanced RPG. They want to have like hundreds of characters. They want the art to be amazing and perfect. But the thing is that what happens when you do that as your first game is when you start the game, you're starting with a very small amount of knowledge, which means that the things that you're making at first aren't going to be that good, and you'll probably have to keep redoing all your work because you're not at a skill level where it's feasible to make something of that scale.
Yeah.
So if you start at the skill level that you're at and make a game that is tailored to that skill level, and then finish that game, release it, and then you'll kind of get an idea of A, whether people like it, and B, like what you can do next.
Yep.
Which is what I did for years, like just kept making things, and like finding skill, like I guess, yeah, tailoring my games to my skill level. So when Tom started helping out with games, that meant I could add tiny mechanics to games and experiment with them, and it all kind of just like ended up with Frog Detective. Wow, these planes are really loud. That's so rude. Don't you know we're recording a video?
I think it might be okay.
Might be okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see how it goes. And the other part of that question was, were we working other jobs while making Frog Detective? I was with the first game. I was still working at League of Geeks, which is a really, really great company. And I was like really sad to leave when I decided to quit to do game dev full time. And I was also at university for the development of the first game. So it was a combination part-time work, university, and game development.
Yeah, and I've been working for myself in game development for a few years. My first game did well, so I had savings from that I've been living off for a little bit.
Yeah, and Tom's been working on another project as well during that time, like between the time making his first game line and Frog Detective, he's working on another project in between, which will be coming out at some point as well.
Yep.
What a struggle to read this one. Adult goth read. I can't read that. Adult goth read something mood, soft mood.
Skeleton Hugs.
Anyway, yeah, at Skeleton Hugs asks, how tall is the Frog Detective? Frog height.
Tall as a rhino.
Yeah, about as tall as a rhino, about as tall as a zebra and a lion, a tapir, about as tall as a cat and also a dog, much taller than a bug.
Yeah, much taller than this bug.
And also taller than a mouse. So hopefully that answers your question. Archmage asks, Archmage VRCHMVGX, Archmage, how did your long-term vision for Frog Mag, what is Frog Mag? How did your long-term vision for Frog Mag develop between the release of the first and second game? What does that mean?
Is Frog Mag just Frog Detective?
Yeah, maybe.
Frog Magnifier.
Okay. Frog Magnet, yeah. I know that Archmage is a speedrunner, so maybe that's what the speedrunners call Frog Detective. I'm just guessing. How did our long-term vision? For Frog Detective 1, like we always knew that it was going to be an experiment, because we did want to make more games after it came out. Like the original thing was like we want to make a series of Frog Detective games. That was always the plan. But we also went into Frog Detective 1 saying like, if this doesn't work out, we don't have to make more games. Like it's not a requirement. So I think like that's already a big difference, right? Of like we did the first game not knowing whether it would continue, so we didn't necessarily have a lot of like long-term story arcs or anything because we didn't want to go into that too deeply. Like we had little things that we knew that we would want to continue with the game, but I think that was a big difference. And then I guess with the development of the second game, we really paid attention to little details that we knew could potentially go through to a third one. So little story arcs and stuff, cliffhangers, unexplained characters.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah, I think like as you said, we made the first one. It's like an experiment. Like it's fine if it doesn't work and it exists by itself. I feel like as we were releasing the first one, felt so good about it that we like pretty much convinced that we're gonna make another one.
Yeah.
Like even like a few days before we released it, we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna make another one.
Yeah, like we kind of knew it was,
because we felt so good about it.
Yeah, like we knew it was good when we made it, and I'm really glad that it's kind of reached an audience, I think, that agrees.
Yeah. I think like we were thinking pretty like we were thinking of like 7 games.
Yeah, oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
It was 7 and then it was 5.
7 and then it was 5 and then
less.
now it's redacted. Yeah.
No, it's back to 7.
Because like when we realized that we were kind of making one game a year, I was like, can I really make Frog Detective for 7 years? I love that was, and we had so many ideas as well. And like I had written down all these different like universes for the Frog Detective to explore. For example, like I will say one of them because I think it's really funny. Like I wanted the last game to be Frog Detective goes to space and like solves a space mystery. Like I thought that was really funny, which maybe one day. Keenan L at LockerKey73. Apologies if that's the incorrect pronunciation. What line of dialogue or joke did you find to be the funniest for you when writing? We did get this earlier, which is kind of good timing because Tom's on Susan's dialogue now, which I like Susan's dialogue. I think any dialogue where the detective is just like explaining something to another character and being misunderstood. I think the joke of Ralph thinking the detective's small, or like Ralph thinking that the detective is far away is really funny. Like I remember when I first pitched that joke to Tom, he was like, I don't know if that makes any sense, Grace. But it kind of worked out in the end. I think I was just not explaining what the joke was very well. Where like being small isn't the same as being far away. Because you know how there's like I don't know, maybe I shouldn't explain that joke, but like when things are far away, they look small. So when things are small, maybe they look far away. You know, that's the joke. We got a question from A Year in Try at A Year in Try. Some tips for newbies who are fascinated by the idea of game making but haven't made a game yet and don't know where to start on this journey. It's always a little bit confronting, I think, when you're starting out making games. And I was like lucky, I guess, because I was studying it at RMIT, so I had people that knew what they were doing teaching me every step of the way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everything I know now was taught to me. I think a lot of it you just kind of pick up, and I think a lot of people that I know that have made really amazing games didn't have a formal games education, and they pick up a tool like Game Maker. I think like Game Maker is kind of the perfect tool to start with if you're starting out making games. I mean, for younger people, I would say like Scratch or something that you can kind of learn programming. But for me, Game Maker has visual programming tools just like straight in there, and there's so much documentation to learn how to make a game with Game Maker. I mean, the advice that I would give is like, as I mentioned before, like don't make anything too big. Like if you can make a character move around a grid, like you've done it. Like that's the first step. That's like I would set yourself goals that are really tiny.
Yeah, achievable. Something achievable. Yeah, or like finish something. Yeah, and if you really want to make something big, kind of like try and break it down and like make a small part of it. Yeah. And make someone feel something if they play it.
Another things like Twine, Bitsy, like there's lots of really accessible game development tools where like you can make a game that is expresses what you're trying to express, but it doesn't like discourage you from wanting to make more things. My first game, I mean like the first game that I would say is a real game was made in Unity. but Unity can be quite, like, for me, was quite inaccessible.
Yeah.
I still don't touch the code in Unity. It's still not something that I do. I don't think I've ever written, like, code in Unity that works. Like, it's just not something that is, for me, I can understand. Like, I just don't get it at all. I think, like, Unity is really good for making 3D spaces if you're interested in learning one part of game development, whether that's, like, 3D. But I think, like, Game Maker, you can make 2D, nice 2D things, and, like, it's fun. It's good. I like it a lot. I think if I was making games solo, which I'm not, I would be making them in Game Maker, or just, like, making them in Unity and not worrying about them having any gameplay at all. Yeah, just keep it really, really small. Normal Lily at Mavertian. Maveritan. What does the team think of the Frog Detective speedrunning community? Grace loves them. Grace, I love speedrunning. I think speedrunning is so much fun. I watch all the AGDQs, all the SGDQs, all the WG... That's probably not a real one. I love speedrunning. I think it's really funny. I think Frog Detective's a really weird game to speedrun. No offense to the community. Like, I guess I just think, like, more interesting speedruns are, like, games that have interesting, like, mechanics and stuff. But I like when they glitch stuff in the game. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
I think for Tom, it's, like, maybe a little bit harder for him to get into it, because it's, like...
I struggle with it a bit because, like, I know that there's things I can do to make speedrunning this game easier, but I don't want to compromise the experience that we're primarily trying to make.
Which is, like, I remember, like, when we edited, or when Tom edited the, like, dialogue system, the dialogue slowed down. Like, he slowed down
the text. Yeah, so, like, if I mash the button here, like, if you press a button, it just, like, speeds up the text. It doesn't appear immediately. Like,
which in the first game iteration it did.
Yeah, it appears immediately. So in the first game or the first iteration, speedrunners would, like, mash the continue button to skip through all the dialogue.
But now they kind of can't. Like,
you
get a glimpse of it anyway.
They actually like it better though.
They said that they liked it better, which is interesting.
Because you don't have to mash.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
There's like a maximum amount that you have to mash, and it's not like... Anyway.
Yeah, I really enjoy it, and I like seeing... I think it's a different way for people to enjoy this game. Yeah. And, like, it also kind of brings me joy because I know that, like, speedrunners hate unskippable cutscenes, and that's all what this game is. Like, every single cutscene is unskippable, and I like that because it's like anyone that's watching a speedrunner doing a speedrun is forced to look at my work. I'm like, look what I did. I made this cutscene. You have to watch it. Which I'm sure they don't mind. Like, and they're really sweet. All the speedrunners that I've spoken to and interacted with, a lot of them are in our Discord. Yeah. Overall, thumbs up. Stephius at Falcon. Will there ever be a Frog Detective 3? The other games were so beautiful and enjoyable. I bought them for my girlfriend as well, and we both loved the series. That's nice, thank you. Cannot confirm nor deny whether there will be a Frog Detective 3. It's truly a mystery. Perhaps a mystery for the Frog Detective to solve. Alex Turner at AJT Photography. I'd love to see the writing progress from page to game detailed. Do you make your own system or use something like Twine, etc.? So I write directly into the game. I'm sure Tom can probably go through and show you a little bit of the dialogue. So yeah, we use Yarn. I write the dialogue directly into the game and then play it. Tom made this is Yarn and also Robert Yang's editor.
Yeah, it's Yarn Spinner, and this editor in Unity is called Merino. by Robert Yang, and some other people maybe contributed to it, and a bunch of people worked on those things together. But,
and you edited it a little bit as well, right?
Have I actually edited it? Well, I had for detective specific stuff like camera stuff and animation stuff, but that's like
so like it's kind of interesting, like the way that we like write it is that we can activate certain camera controls and animations and stuff through the text that I write, which is great. So you can kind of see here, like I've written down all this dialogue. We just have like the names of the characters, like you're writing a screenplay or a script or like a play or whatever. Tom kind of does all the coding stuff. I did it in the first game, but I kind of got a bit overwhelmed in the second game, doing all this like programmy stuff. Anything programming, I just like freak out and can't do it. So I would like write in what I want Tom to happen, like what I want to happen in each scene, and Tom would go through and put it in. When I'm writing dialogue, I play through it a lot to get the timings right and to make sure it feels like a conversation that is like has beats and stuff like you would in writing comedy, making sure that the way that I pace it has beats and it feels good to read and it feels like a conversation. Just gonna have a drink. 1 moment. I love vodka. Just kidding. Lily at Lily Argan. I would like to know about your story dev process. Do you have the idea, write it, storyboard, etc., or was making the game in every step? Story development process. Okay. So like when we're creating a story, for each game, like what I would do is I would come up with a story outline and just like pitch it to Tom, I guess. Like I would say, hey Tom, here's what I think will happen in the story. So for the first game, it was something like there's someone on an island and they're afraid of a ghost, so they invite some ghost scientists around to solve a mystery, but the ghost scientists can't figure it out, so that's where you come in. You're a frog detective, and you've just got to question everyone, get information from the scientists, and piece it all together. Something like that, which is like a vague outline. Or I would, and then if Tom likes that, so I generally put everything by Tom, like get his feedback, and then I will go in and like do the beats of the story. Like for example, like there's someone on the island and they know exactly what happened, but no one will listen to them, so you have to do all these things, and like I'll go into more detail like that. And for this game, like it's hard to explain this process without like spoiling it, I guess. Like when I will go through the whole story of like what I think happens in this game. Like there's all these twists and turns, all these characters that know things and people that don't know things, and lies and intrigue and blah blah blah. And then once we've, like me and Tom have both kind of agreed on a story, I'll go through and create the characters and give them a motivation. For this game, I gave them like a motivation and something that they need. So it was similar to the first game where they wanted an item, but because people wanted more of a mystery, I was giving each character like a motive for doing the crime. So you can see here, like motive, tried to vacuum up the wizard. Maybe there's some history there. Needs a rug. And then like writes down things. And then it kind of just like it kind of writes itself from there. Once I make it so that everyone has a reason to be there. That all kind of ties into the whole story. And Tom just went through the writing system as well. I don't know. We storyboard the cut scenes, but we don't storyboard the game so much.
No. We have a vague sense of like scenes.
Yeah.
And,
I call them biomes. Because I think it's funny. I think it's funny to have biomes in games because that means it's a real game. So, Stephen Kilbride at Stephen Kilbride asks, what are the biggest lessons you learned making the first game that you were able to use making the second? What did you do differently and did it work better? Biggest lessons.
I mean, there's like a bunch of technical stuff that we improved.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm trying to think of non-technical stuff.
I think one non-technical thing was like, I mean, I don't necessarily think I learnt this making the game, but like after the game came out, we got really good reviews. Like the Steam reviews are like very positive, but as is human nature, like I kind of like gravitate towards the negative ones and read those and like try to understand why someone wouldn't like the game so that I can improve it. And part of it was like people being like upset or disappointed that, you know, they'd paid to play a detective game and didn't get to solve a mystery or didn't feel like there was a mystery, which, as I mentioned before, like that's the joke. But I also like really empathize with that. Like I understand that people wanted there to be a mystery and wanted there to be intrigue. So that was a big thing that we changed from the first game to the second, was like we wanted it to feel like everyone was involved in some way, or like everyone could be responsible. And like with our demo actually that we had at a bunch of different events, originally it was like you played 10 minutes of it, or like you played, I think it was like a 20-minute demo, you went and talked to everyone and got their motive, and then you decide, like the end of the demo was like deciding who you think is the most suspicious, and it like ranks your answer along with everyone else's answer. Which was interesting in a couple of ways, because it was interesting to see who people thought was the most suspicious, but also like interesting for people that thought someone was suspicious and then realized they're very much in the minority and like everyone else thinks Noddy did it or whatever. And it was really fun as well, like being at somewhere like PAX West, seeing people do that demo and get really upset when they realize they don't get to know who did it. Which was great though. It was like, I mean, it just meant like, well, sorry, you have to play the game to find out.
And like something else, like the book, like we added things like the book that kind of make the player feel like they're like role-playing more of a detective.
And there's this great thing where you can like make someone a suspect. Suspicious.
Yeah, it's a kind of like we added like, rather than actually make a detective game, we just added more like kind of role-playing tools that made you feel like you're playing, like role-playing a detective, or like doing detective kind of actions. Which I think suited it better. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean like the whole game is just role-playing, right? Like, I mean, that's always been it. You're role-playing as a detective, and part of that is just having like a magnifying glass that doesn't really do anything except make you feel like you're solving something in a silly way. So we've got baby non-binary adult plant TD _VA. When did you know you wanted to create this game, and what was the hardest part for you personally? I wanted to create it. I mean, like, I kind of had to create a game for my final project at university. So that's when I knew I wanted to make it. Honestly, that's kind of the answer. I think there are other reasons that I wanted to create this game, which was like, I felt like my games needed to like take the leap into making something a bit bigger, and I needed to create something that was more recognizable as a game to kind of like improve my standing in the industry almost, or like, I mean, I said this before, like make people take me a bit more seriously, because like even though I was being invited to like speak at events and stuff and I felt like I knew what I was talking about all of the time, there was this kind of air of like, yeah, well, she's never made a commercial game, so like, I don't know, how much can she know? I don't know. I mean, like I just kind of wanted to be legitimate. I wanted to be a real developer. maybe that was part of it. I mean, yeah.
Not that people who make free games.
No. I mean, but that's how I felt, and that's how people perceive people that make free games and make artistic games. Yeah. It's just all a perception thing, and like as much as I would love to change that, it's hard. You can't really just change people's mind on it. And having created both types of games, like a commercial game and and free artistic games, they're two totally different things, and both are super valuable. And I feel like I couldn't have made this game without having had the experience of making art games. Yeah. I mean, not that this. You know what? Let's just. Not that this game's not art. You know, there's lots.
If you charge money, it's not art, and if it's free, it's art game.
That's true. That's how it works. That's how it works. That's why Candy Crush is
art game
in the MoMA. I don't know. So, what was the hardest part for us personally? I mean, we kind of went over this a little bit before. Hardest part is probably the peripheral stuff, emails.
Hardest part is finding time to work.
Yes. Yeah.
In our everything that isn't making the game.
Yes.
In our lives.
Yeah, trying to make the game is the hardest bit because everything demands so much time. Lorian at LoriPops asks, did Frog Detective hold true to the initial creative vision, or how much did that vision change, if so? In some senses, it's the original vision. Originally, like, Frog Detective was going to be a little experiment where you walk around an island and talk to people, and then, like, you kind of get given the solution without any, like, swapping mechanic or whatever. But, we kind of upped the scope from that prototype pretty quickly.
I'm trying to remember what initially happened and what.
Well, I wanted to make it so that you talked to all these characters, and then the fourth character you talked to, no matter what the order was, would tell you something very important.
Right.
And then you could go and, like, solve the mystery, basically. Yep. Because I thought that was kind of like the scope that I could handle at the time. But it turned out like that was, it was achievable to do something much larger.
Yeah.
And by much larger, I mean still very small.
And I think that's so important to like emphasize that like we tried to make a game that was just at your level.
Yeah.
Of like what you knew you could do.
Yeah. And then we kind of pushed it a bit.
More, yeah.
We did push it. We pushed what I knew. We pushed, creatively. I mean, creatively and, like, technically more so. Like, creating something a bit more complicated. And it was challenging in a lot of ways. Like, it was challenging professionally, I think, to go from creating art games to making something commercial and kind of immediately having to know what I'm doing. I think like going to meetings and stuff, pitching the second game, and like doing our own PR, which we did for the first game. When you make commercial games, there's an expectation that you just gotta know everything. You just gotta like you either know everything or you can outsource the things that you don't know, but we didn't have the budget to outsource, so it was like, here's the deep end, enjoy learning everything at once. Flowers at Swords and Flowers, is that the correct? Yep, at Swords and Flowers. Did you decide on a non-frog before the frog was decided, or was it always a frog from the start? It was always a frog from the start. Yeah. Frog Detective appeared as like a whole image in my brain, not as like, I want to make a game about a frog, but what does it do? Or like, I want to create a game about a detective, but what kind of detective? It was like Frog Detective. It was beamed to me from the sky. Whew. So there's a few questions that are repeats that I'm going to skip. Stephen at Joyous Frog. When did you start making games, and how long did Frog Detective take to make? I started making games. I mean, I made games when I was a kid. I made like dress-up games using Flash and like other weird games when I was younger. I had made some attempts of making games when I was working working at a full-time job in a boring retail job. Tried to make some games, realised it was very hard. Started the process of looking into studying at university, but I started making games in 2016, like properly making games 2016, so I guess like 4 years, 5 years, I don't know how time works. Tom's been making them for a lot longer.
Yeah, I think I made a game in high school, but it wasn't like, it was like checkers or something. Like we just make checkers and don't change anything. Like
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if that counts making a game. I think it doesn't. But yeah, after high school I went to a little college thing and did like a 2-year programming focused games course thing. And I had no like design ambitions after I graduated, but then I just started making my own games, and really enjoyed it. But yeah, I've been making games for, you could say, like 7 years.
Yeah.
Total.
And how long did Fred Detective take to make? The first game took around 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
I'd say like probably like 6.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't full time.
It wasn't full time, so it's like hard to quantify exactly.
Yeah.
When it comes to Frog Detective 2, I'd say it probably took about a year. But a lot of that wasn't in the development of the game itself. Frog Detective 2 was heavily marketing and PR work for me.
Yeah.
And like promo work. Like in terms of making the game itself, it probably took around the same time as Frog Detective 1.
Yep.
But the whole process was about a year to get it out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like a kind of a hard question to answer. Well, the answer varies from game to game and project to project on that. And it's like, it can change. It can vary a lot, I guess.
And it also varies between me and Tom.
Yeah.
Because we have different like areas that we work on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jefferson at Jefferson Toll. I would love to know about your favorite children's books, cartoons, and whether any of them had any influence on the concept. Yeah, I have like I definitely don't have like games influences really. I'm influenced by like Aardman. Like as growing up, I watched a lot of Aardman, like Wallace and Gromit and stuff. I watched like, I watched like the Muppet movie. I didn't watch the Muppet show. I like the Muppets though. But yeah, like Aardman, Wallace and Gromit. Sorry, that's Noddy again. I don't know if you can hear her. I also, in terms of like dialogue and stuff, I'm influenced by listening to people on the street because people are really funny. Our dog likes to moan, so apologies if you can hear her. I'm trying to think if there's, like stuff like Postman Pat and like any like claymation stuff. I liked, in terms of actual game influences, there's a game called The Neverhood, which was developed by DreamWorks in like 1996, maybe 1998, which I played a lot as a kid and really, really enjoyed it. And it made me like point and click adventures a lot. Yeah. I'm trying to think of specific like references. It's not conscious. It's definitely not a conscious reference, anything that I make. But I think like even the character designs are kind of a bit Aardman-esque. Like the eyes and stuff and like how they look a bit goofy. I think like me and Tom's relationship is a bit like Wallace and Gromit. Tom's Gromit, Wallace. Graham Holborn at Graham. When you 3D model a character, how do you get the butt area to work? I can only make legs, torsos, arms, and heads, just no butt areas. Graham, I don't know what you're talking about. My characters don't really have pronounced butts. I don't know if you're asking the right person. I do enjoy this question though. Yeah. Sorry, Graham, I cannot help. Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of all the questions that we have on Twitter. I've skipped a couple that are like repeats, but yeah, thank you all so much for asking questions. I think me and Tom are going to have some pesto pasta for dinner.
Yes.
And then we'll move over to Tom's like technical stuff. So this is probably it from me. Thank you so much for listening and asking questions. And if you're watching this on Steam, hopefully you are intrigued enough to purchase the game and give it a play and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and leave a comment and subscribe and all that. Just kidding.
Ring that bell.
Ring that bell, get that notification button, join my club. I don't know. Just leave a good review. Or a bad one. I don't really care. I care a little bit. Please don't leave a bad review. But you can. It's your choice. God, where was I going with that? Goodbye, basically.
See ya.
See you later. Thank you so much.
You can...
Oh yeah, you can follow me at Grace Brooksner on Twitter, or don't.
Or don't. You
Or
can
don't.
follow me at Thomas Bowker on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or don't.
Or don't. It's up to you.
And you can see more Frog Detective at frogdetective.net.
Sure can. Or superhot.com, maybe?
Superhot.
I don't know what Superhot's. Is it?
.com.
Yeah, we don't know what. Just search Superhot on Google. You'll find
Yeah, just Google it.
it. See you later.
See ya.
Bye, everybody. Have a good night.